What's going on, everybody? You are now tuned to another episode of Everyday Heroes, and we got real name Wynton, JB Written, and John J on the show, along with our special guest, Lucky,
What's going on? What's going on?
which so happens to be my oldest brother. So, before I get into anything, how is everybody doing today? How's everybody doing this week? Everything good?
Yeah,
Hashtag.
everything good.
All right, all right, all right. Everything good, JB?
Gucci, man.
I
Gucci.
see you on the camera now.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Got my camera on. Camera game on.
All
All
right,
these
all
other
right,
guys,
all
all
right.
everybody else scared, but not me. You
I-
know,
I'll be I'll be popping in and out. I'll be
everybody else.
Hold
I
on, man.
might.
I can't let you talk about me like that, man.
I
Oh, I'm
um,
gonna be popping in and out too, so it's all good.
I ain't scared, just ain't in the camera mood.
My hair ain't looking right, so I didn't want to be on too long.
all right, that
Had to
sounds
make sure
good.
my hair was looking good.
I'm married. I don't need no groupies.
Oh, really? It ain't even that serious.
That's lovely, man. So, all right, cool, cool, cool. So, we're gonna get into some stuff. We're gonna get into some stuff. I'm gonna just go ahead and lay it out for you. We're gonna go ahead and get into a topic that I think we've kind of glanced over a little bit in some of our little discussions, but we haven't really had a topic on it like that. Um, and it's about technical lynching, right? It's about, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm gonna let Lucky go first. But it's about people that end up going to jail or going to prison, not really having a system for when they get out, or really having a way to get to that system easily.
Well, it's more along the lines of modern day slavery, basically. How they keep minorities down from actually growing and keeping them at the bare minimum as long as possible. When you think about it, when we first started, here in America, they had us on farms, they had us, lifting boxes, they had us, doing all types of hard labor for free. And what a technical lynching is basically what they're doing through the system to keep minorities from actually growing and still receiving free labor, still receiving reduced labor, still taking away their rights to the point where they're not a whole person in society. Because at one point we're considered as African Americans a fifth of a person. So how do you negate that? You take away their rights. You can be a whole person now. If I take away your rights, you're still not whole. You feel what I'm saying?
Like, okay, all right. That sounds good. All right, so I understand that more. So since you already, you're talking about, let's hear what you got to say about it in this topic in this regard.
Well, I'm gonna start off with a little bit of numbers. And the reason for that is because it gives you a realistic idea of how ridiculous the system is and how it's not built for minorities in general. All right. First, I'd like to start with one. African Americans make up only about 13% of America. 13%. Think about that. Actually, it's 12.7% of America. Hispanics make up roughly about 17.8. So you're looking at about around 30% of America that makes up minorities. And I think Asians are around like 2%. So when you look at the bigger picture, you have 61% Anglo Saxons or Caucasians or whites that make up the population. 61%, which is over 50%. So when they talk about the numbers of saying, "Oh, there's more white people in prison, there's more black than black people," of course, when you look at the ratio, there's more white people apparently in America. But when you look at the numbers overall, they're more devastating for us because there's not enough of us. So when you sit down and you say, "Hey, 34% of African Americans are getting locked up," let's take a round number, 1,000, right? If there's 1,000 white people or Caucasians or non-Latinos, and you take away 34%, you get 340, right? That's a big number, right? When you look at it from our standpoint, our number is not going to be 1,000. Our number is going to be probably around 100. You take away 34%, that's dang near half our population right there. When you think about it, we're not winning in that aspect. So when we're getting locked up, the percentages are not in our favor. You know, a lot of times they use graphs to say, "Oh well, you know, it's more whites." Yeah, it's more whites because overall it's a higher number. But the percentages, they don't lie. Let's go on to a you know, if you ever have the time, look on the NCAA website about African Americans incarceration. All right. In 2014, 34% of African Americans were were um were in a correctional population. 34%.
So real quick, and I'm sorry to cut you off. So with these percentages, I'm where are you getting at with this? Like what it like? Okay,
Well,
the technical lynching, like
what I'm trying to show is the differences right now. Right now, I'm showing the differences in when they say, "Oh, you know," a lot of people try to downplay the fact that we're getting locked up, that we're getting our rights taken away, that we're not being able to go out and get a job like a regular person. And the thing about it is, we're 5 times, um, we're going to jail at 5 times the rate as any white person. So when you lose your rights, you lose the right to vote, which they just now got back, but then put stipulations on. So
right.
the stipulation is you have to pay all your restitution. But if you can't get a job, how can you pay your restitution? So therefore, you're still back where you started from, not being able to vote. The other are programs that are being enacted to try to counteract it. But when you think about the bigger picture, they're taking away your voting rights. So when I said in the beginning, you are a fifth of a person, how do you think they're getting you back to that without saying, "Hey, you're less than a person"? They lock you up. They take away your voting rights. They take away your rights to bear arms. They take away um, they take away a lot of people's right to a speedy trial. You know, and then not only do they harass you, they classify you. Once you get classified, it's hard for you to go out and find jobs. It's hard for you to go out and be productive
Okay.
citizens because they're not preparing you for that. They're preparing you to bring you right back to where you are, which is free labor in prison.
All right.
I
So
think
go
I
ahead.
think the problems start way before we even hit the penitentiary. I think the problem started long time ago, like he said, slavery. Then black people don't get the same type of opportunities. We're not privy to the same type of resources as the white community. Like I was hearing something about how they run credit, and certain people in certain areas could get a higher credit limit than people in other areas. Even like with car insurance, if I stayed in the hood, my rate would be way higher than it would if I was in a white neighborhood.
Tell me about it.
So it started way before we even make it to the chain gang, and that's why we going to prison at a higher rate because as a man, black men, period. Like, we're not gonna lay down and just be poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, even I see black panhandlers, obviously, but you're not finna see a young man begging. Eventually, we gonna go and get it however we can get it. I mean, uh, some crimes like murder, rape, stuff like that, that's inexcusable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, murder kind of is excusable in some instances. I mean, if your family was hurt or you protecting yourself or family. So, you know what I'm saying? But with that, I'm not even put them people in jail. I'm go ahead. But a person who out there trying to get it, like selling weed or something like that, whatever. If you ain't gonna give them no job, these people ain't just gonna sit around and starve or let their kids starve or let their mama get put out of the house. It's not gonna happen. So, but that's what they want, because the prison system, it's a business. It's $1 billion industry. Like, they actually have prisons on the stock market. People invest in prisons and make money off it. So if the prisons are empty, people who invested losing their investment, and the people who invested in these prisons are multi-billionaires and millionaires, and they not finna lose out on their investment. So if the governors want to be elected, if the police chiefs want to be elected, we finna have to start putting things in place to put these niggas in jail, or whoever in jail. They don't even care what color it is now. I mean, they ain't giving white people as much time as they giving black people. But if a cell need to be accommodated, they're not finna care what color you are for the most part. Another thing, as he was saying, with like the free labor, and when you get out, they don't have no programs for when felons get out of prison, when people get out of prison. um I actually been to prison before, and when I got out, they gave me $100 in a bus ticket. That was it.
That's
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
Now
So,
it's $50 in the bus ticket.
oh, now it's $50 in the bus ticket. So they ain't even getting you that. And when I first got home, I didn't know what the hell to do. Like, I put in literally like close to 1,000 applications and didn't get nothing. Like, in order to find a job, I had to go to a mom and pop type place. Like, I was working at this meat store when I first got out. You know what I'm saying? I was making like $300 a week or something like that. And it was hard, man. I went to school. I went for plumbing. I graduated, got my plumbing certification. That didn't work out. I went to ACC, tried that. That didn't work out. So eventually, I just went and got my CDL. For any felons that's listening, you get your CDL, it's gonna change your whole life. Like, you gonna make good money. You gonna make well over 50, 60, even 100, 200,000 if you your own business owner. You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree with you on that one. That's one of the few jobs that are accepting felons.
yeah,
Another one is, whether they believe it or not, is sanitation.
yeah.
And anything in sanitation, they'll accept ex felons. To piggyback what you were saying about um not having a chance at a job, that is the number one biggest issue. Like I said, when you get out, they expect you to pay your restitution. But if you don't pay your restitution, you're going to jail. You're going right back the way you came if you miss payments. So it's one of those things where they don't set you up for success. And they don't want to set you up for success. Like you said, it's a $1 billion industry. What's his name? Our past governor, Rick Scott. He went from a millionaire to almost a billionaire off of the prison system. His wife owns so many stocks in so
Damn.
many companies, from the canteen where they buy their sodas to
Keefe,
yeah,
Airmark. Yeah.
Airmark to where they feed them in the chow hall. So she's making money. She has her hands in JPay, which is where they make their phone calls. She gets a portion of all that money. All that
And J
money.
Bay trash.
Yeah,
J Pay is
stuff
trash.
too.
Like, I send pictures on there and they don't even give them my pictures, and it still take my money. and there ain't no way to get in contact with nobody. You got to send an email, and they never get back to you. So it's trash.
So, like I said, it's one of those things where they set you up for failure. And it's a shame, like you said, that people who peddle a few drugs get more time than rapists. A rapist will go out there and rape a little 4-year-old girl, get 5 years, maybe 10 max. Gets out of prison. Dude go sell some weed or cocaine.
Sometimes they
He
get probation.
Yeah, or they get his probation. And they just gotta sit down and register. But you sell some weed and watch once you get a 10-year bid without even trying. So
Man, I done met a lot of dudes get caught with a couple of ounces of weed and they getting 3 years off rip. Like this was back in the day though, like 04, 05. You know what I'm saying? Around that time, I don't know if they'll do it to you like that now.
Well, it depends on the state now because of the whole weed laws. But to get back on some stats that I want to talk about too, which is 32% of children, African American children, are arrested. 42% of the children who are detained, and 52% of the cases are waived in criminal court. So don't think just because you're a grown man, they're not doing it to our little kids. They're doing
I'm
it.
a living witness. It happened to me when I was 16.
And it's not fair because now, before they even get to start life, they're already labeled.
It's true. They'll direct file you quick.
And now that you're already labeled, that's when we get back to the whole technical lynching conversation. Now that you're labeled, now you can't do anything. But yet, let a little white boy go out there and sell little drugs. Oh, it was a learning experience, or it was a he was a child. He didn't know any better. But we don't get that same concept at all. They come straight.
It's true, man. It's true.
So
like I said, like as an adult, I'm 32 years old right now. I've never even had a speeding ticket as an adult. The only time I was arrested when I was 16 and under. And right now I have a felony on my adult record. Direct file sent to youth offender camp. I was at Indian River, Brevard, Charlotte, and Santa Rosa. So it's serious. What he's saying, true. Like I think Florida is one of the highest states for incarcerating youth. Like under like it was so many.
Texas. You can't knock Texas.
Texas worse.
Texas. Florida's like top 5. Texas is like number 1.
Yeah, I believe that. And Texas don't care about putting you on death row neither. I said I never go to Texas. You get caught speeding, they'll put you on death row in Texas. Nah, I'm just bullshitting.
I'm just gonna chime in. I don't have a lot of experience with this topic. So I have more questions than pretty much answers. To me, I look at this as a sad thing. But we talked about modern day slavery, modern day lynching. And I know slavery was a real bad thing. And we know, well, now most people know. What is something now that we're not seeing that we should see now? What is the results? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the results of what would make it different? You know what I'm saying?
Make it different?
Yeah, what would make it different? I understand that we're going to jail at a high rate, but what can we do to make it different right now? You know what I'm saying? What is the results?
You want my honest opinion?
The honest opinion. That's why I'm asking.
It's called holding people accountable. We don't hold the right people accountable. So when things go wrong in the prison, you blame the warden, right? When things go wrong on the streets, you blame the chief of police. But you know who never gets blamed? The
Who?
governor, the mayor, the commissioners, the people that we vote into office every single day. None of them get held responsible for the people they hold in offices. So if we start holding them responsible for these things, you'll start to see a change. But because we as African Americans are so divided because we were taught to be divided and not united, that we have this mentality of bringing each other down. It's called the crab mentality. You ever seen a dude see you got something nice and he just hate on you for no reason?
Mhm.
Instead of saying, man, how did you get that? Can you help me get to where you are? There's not a lot of us saying that.
And another question too is, you said some things shouldn't be as bad as some things, but how do we pick and choose that? You know what I'm saying? How do
Well,
like I know some criminals, they go to jail and lose their rights to vote and lose their rights to do stuff. What's wrong with that? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I
okay,
think everything wrong with it. Can I answer this one first? Let me
go
say
ahead.
this. Let me say this. Everything wrong with it for the simple fact that, all right, when you was 16 or 17 years old, you did some things back then that as an adult right now, you wouldn't even think about doing. You understand what I'm saying? Some of the things you did when you was young, you look back on, was like, damn, I was dumb. I can't believe I actually did that. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, the saying is you do the crime, you do the time, right? If I
correct.
did my time for the crime I committed, why you throwing basically double jeopardy at me and you sentencing me in society too? You giving me 5 years in prison, but
But
then
if
you giving me a life
but
sentence
if
in
you did if
society.
but if you did something like, like you said, rape and murder, I don't believe that that
Okay.
person should have
All
certain
right, but
rights.
that's
Let me jump in on this one. Let me jump in on this one. Maybe I can articulate it in a way that he'll get it. When you go to prison, right? The whole point of going to prison is, like you said, to do your time, to pay your debt back to society, right?
Correct.
When you look at the prison system, the way it's set up, it's not set up for you to pay your debt back to society. It's set up to keep you out of society. So, yeah, you may have committed rape. Do I have anything for a rapist? No. But at the same time, fair is fair. You have, like, at one point when you went to prison in the 80s, you were able to get out and still go to the military. Now you can't even get out and go to the military anymore. You can't get out and do anything. To take away everyone your rights. Who's to say that that dude who did that at 18, 19, or 20 didn't learn his lesson for being locked up 6 years? I mean, think about it. How many times have you heard of a black male at one point having sex with a white female, and then the next thing you know, she calls rape because she's embarrassed, and now you're locked up. Now you're labeled as a rapist. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now,
even deeper than that though.
I know
Real
people like I
quick,
know people in those situations.
even deeper than that, I think when it comes to rape and murder and stuff like that, if it's not something emotional, it's something mental. You know what I'm saying? Like with rape, that's a mental illness more than anything. Of course, those people need to be helped in some type of way.
I'm
With
not
murder,
talking for me. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going off a scenario with the military. I know a lot of people would say this. Uh, I don't, you can't really please everybody, but most people wouldn't even want to work next to a rapist. Like, you know what I'm saying? That brings your stock value down. That brings, your people down. You know what I'm
I agree.
saying?
no, I,
So it's
I get
I
what
agree.
you're saying, but I think a lot of it should be case by case. And I think a lot of it should be based on their actual actions. Because when you look at different cases, you'll find, like I said, some where you're like, man, he got locked up on a humbug. But then you have some where you like, man, I can't believe he raped his 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
Not
it's
on
true.
that.
Cause
Now, when you got
look,
those types of situations, they're labeled the same, but we can't treat them the same. That's why I said if you're gonna do the overall, if you're gonna be fair about it, if you're gonna, you have to just do it case by case in some of those situations. You can't just label them all. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So what are the crimes that we getting more for?
For us, most of the time it's drug charges.
Drug charges.
I'm gonna say all of them.
I would say
Because
drug
in my situation, I had caught a burglar dwelling caught with burglary tools, and I had a grand theft auto also.
My
A
question.
white boy who I know real quick. A white boy who I know, this was my friend. He had like 30 burglary charges. I ended up getting 4.5 years. He ended up going to a level 10 program. So that's the difference.
And my question too, y'all say labels. There's no time that those things drop off of your record.
Never. That shit for life.
Never, and that's the hardest part. That's why I said I brought up the 80s or the 70s when you did your time. When you got out, that was it. You know, when you go overseas and you get locked up, you can commit murder and you only get the max 15 years. Only 1% of their prisons overseas in Europe actually is locked up for life. 1%, and they don't have nearly as high return rate as we do in America, especially in Florida. Because I mean, and on top of that, their living standards in their prisons are 10 times better. It's like living in an apartment.
All right. Let's get to the meat and grits of this. Okay? And I'm just asking a question. When you get locked up, is it the people's fault? I mean, really, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it are we missing opportunities as black people? Are we missing
Let me
opportunities? Let's
Look,
get into the
I'm gonna
meat
say
and grits.
this. Yeah, a lot of the crime we commit, yes, a lot of it is our fault. But I don't think in certain situations, I believe like the DA, state attorneys, whatever, they just trying to get a conviction. And sometimes all it takes is what somebody else said or something circumstantial to put you in prison for a long time. And I think that's bullshit if it's not something solid. Another thing is, you got you got
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off.
go ahead, cause I got something to say. Go ahead.
It boils down to this. I say this all the time. We only make up for 12.7%, 13% max, right? But we are the culture. Let's be 100%. We are the culture. Everyone wants to be black, but nobody wants what comes with being black.
I don't see why they want to be black.
Because let's be honest, all the hip hop music saying the N-word.
I heard her saying. He said, everybody want to be black until you have to deal with some black shit.
Yeah,
or the cops come.
Right. So check it.
That's the whole point.
Look, another thing, right? They make laws specifically for us. What black people do a lot of, especially if you making money off it, they gonna make a law against that shit. You sag your pants, it's a law against sagging your pants, and now they can fine you. And in Florida, in Ocala, I know 100% sure it's a crime to sag your pants in Ocala, Florida. So
another thing, black tents. Come on, who tint their windows?
Exactly, dark tents. You feel me? Loud music. That's made for black people.
Come on, man.
You feel me?
So he's right. These city ordinances are for us. They're not for everyone else. Because we're the only ones that blast our music. We're the only ones that tint our windows. Everything we do, they'll make something up in order to hinder you. Why do you think they don't want to make marijuana legal in some places?
Thank you.
It ain't because it's a drug. It's because then you can't convict as many African Americans or Latinos.
And on top of that, they need that conviction first. So when they do legalize marijuana, you ain't gonna be able to get a license to run your own business when you know everything about marijuana because you've been selling marijuana since the 90s. But since you got that conviction on your record, you can't obtain a marijuana dispensary license. You feel me? So this shit built against us, dog. Like, if you can't see that, you just ain't got eyeballs or a brain.
See, to bring it all back.
Not saying I don't see it. I'm just saying, what opportunities are we missing that we need to catch up on?
I feel
the opportunities we are missing that we need to catch up on, and I tell people this all the time. It's not protesting. Protesting, these major companies, CEOs and everything, they're past that. Judges, court system, they're past all that picketing and standing in front of stuff and saying we shall not be moved. We're in a whole nother era. This era is all about money. Like I said, we're the culture. We sit down, everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be an artist. Everybody wants to live that glamorous life, have gold teeth, dreadlocks, all the other stuff. They want to be us. So instead of sitting down giving our money to all these white companies, promote the black companies. And when these white companies' pockets start really hurting, just like Nike. Nike was the smartest one of the smartest companies out there. When Colin Kaepernick sat down and took that knee, nobody else wanted to touch him. You know why? Because they're like, oh, he's a money pit. But you know what Nike said?
What'd they say?
Black people spend money. We spend the most money. If you look it up,
we do.
Africans spend the most money in the United States overall, and we make up the smallest percentage. Now we spend the most money. Nike dropped like something like 19% in the first week, right? Some crazy number like that. They dropped. The next week they went past the number. They went up like almost another 30%. All because they picked up Colin Kaepernick and the black people started backing them. They bought more Nike. And that's what I sit here and say. We are the culture. You want to make a change in all of this? Stop the protesting, standing still in the hot-ass sun, and get out here and start promoting these black businesses. Get out here and get on these commissioners' asses. Get out here and get in the mayor's face. Get out here and get on the education board at these schools.
Okay.
And make sure that our kids are getting their education. Make sure that when they're in court, people are there and they have lawyers that support them. Because you can even go to immigration right now. There's a lot of things that are going on in this country that is just repeating itself. You remember when the Jewish had the concentration camps?
Yeah.
What do you think they're doing to the Spanish people right now? Talking about immigrants. They're holding their own version of concentration camps, sending these kids separate from their parents.
There was blueprints.
Again and again and again.
There was blueprints.
No one cares because the blueprint has already been made, and nobody wants to stop it because
I've seen those blueprints like 5 years ago. 5 years before all that stuff started, I've seen the blueprints. And all that stuff and what they want to do. I saw all that.
And the crazy part, these kids get lawyers, and they don't even speak English. So, and their parents are not there to even help represent them. They're standing in court by themselves. So, when I say the system is 100% flawed, it is not for minorities at all.
That is true.
It wasn't built. When police forces were built, they were called posses. They were built to round up all the slaves. That was the original goal of the police department. Now it has evolved over time, but that was the original goal.
I got another question.
After this, we're gonna get into our final thoughts.
All right. Do you think black people want to be white?
I'm not gonna say they want to be white.
I think some of them niggas do.
Hold on. I think we get it confused sometimes. It's not being white. It's about having our own, but the same. You have to realize.
But the problem, hold on, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the problem is you say we buying from white businesses. We're not going with the law. You know what I'm saying? Do you think majority of the black people, which you already put the numbers out there, is not a lot of us. We can't beat them. Join them.
I don't think we're at the state where we can't beat them, join them. It's just we like flashy things and they know that.
Look, it's
Think about it
this.
like
They
a child.
got more resources than we do, and sometimes you just gotta goddamn get what you can get. I mean, we don't know how to farm. We don't know how to sow.
But
We don't know how to
Why we
build.
don't?
I'm gonna
I
stop
mean,
you right
is
there.
that
You
their
need to.
fault
I'm
or is
gonna
that
stop you right
our
there.
fault?
I'm gonna stop you right there because at one point we knew how to do all that. The reason why it stopped was because we started thinking we were better than that, and that's why it stopped.
I think it's because they started handing it to us. They started making it available, and when you make shit available, people get lazy, and nobody don't want to cut their own meat no more. We'll just go to Walmart or go to Popeyes where it's already cooked.
Well, see, I disagree with that because when you think about the education system, my granddaddy was a sharecropper, so I'm not that far away from slavery. So when you sit down and you think about it, he had to sit down and farm his own land. My dad, he sits down. He knows a lot of things about farming and stuff
Yeah, he knows a
and
lot. Yeah.
stuff. But the thing about it is, as generations go down, we as children, oh, we're going to school. Dad, I don't need to learn all that. Dad, I need to go do this. Why? Because we're sitting here getting caught up in society and thinking that we're above that now. We're above getting our hands dirty. And that's where we're falling short. And that's where the immigrants come in at. All them jobs that the immigrants are doing, we were doing long before them. But now that we feel like we're better than that, they're coming in here and taking those jobs, and which is holding us back from minimum wage. Because think about it. Who out here is going to go out and build their own house right now? When you know you can pay somebody and go out here and get it because you got a college education and you can afford to try to pay someone to do it. You're not going to do it. But back in those days, you can have a college education to go build your own house and not owe them nothing. It's because we as a people have gotten lazy. We have gotten complacent. We're saying, oh, you dangling this fancy thing in front of my face.
That's what I was saying. Now you saying what I'm saying.
But now, at the end of the day, the only way to change that is to change our mentality
That
and
makes
support each other, and that's it.
Yeah.
And hold these people accountable. If it doesn't happen, it's not going to change. You might as well sit back. I look at the people in South Carolina when they went to go protest. Pointless. You just in the hot sun. They don't care about you in the hot
Why
sun.
we don't go invest in like churches, black churches? They got their own schools.
Ask yourself this. Ask yourself this. Why don't we invest in black churches?
Why
One,
take them to a private not a private school, a public school? Why we don't put them in a private school, a black church private school?
like I said before, if you
Man,
sit
you
down,
tripping, nigga.
I mean, hold on. That's a black company. That's a black church.
Yeah, I agree. But ask yourself this. What did I say before? We're like crabs. If you sit down and you have a church, a black church is doing well, and they sit down and they have a good school program, what's going to happen? People going to hate. They're going to find loopholes to try to shut them down. Let's be honest. What charter school do you know besides like LeBron James or Oprah who have millions of dollars that black charter schools that are really open in Florida?
It's a black charter school in Tampa.
Okay. Now
they don't have millions of dollars, but you know.
But I have a question. How many kids go there?
It's probably around 200 to 300 people. I don't know the numbers.
All right. You have to sit down and also look at your resources because they may only have a grant. They may only have people who can afford it, and that's the biggest thing. Where's the money going to come from? Why? Because you have. I didn't even get into the whole thing about black males and communities, but you have this thing where you have most of African American households as single parents. So you got one income coming in. Now that you got one income coming in, how you gonna send them to a charter school or a school that's a private school for black people? You can't even afford it. You make it ends meet as it is. You on free and reduced lunch. I'm just saying. Now, if they can give out grants or give out scholarships, that'd be great. But that's something that you got to sit down and, you know, and work out.
All right, cool. Well, that was definitely a good segment. Any final thoughts from anyone?
I'll go first so I can let y'all chime in. I was watching a show. It was on Netflix. It was by what's that? Killer Mike. Y'all ever seen that Killer Mike show off of
Yeah,
Netflix?
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good
It's
show.
hard for them to find those black businesses in
Yeah.
order to do the whole show because he said I was only going to live off black
Black
businesses.
businesses. But it was one episode where he was only allowed to eat, the black businesses. Actually, thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, he was only allowed to do black businesses, and he was only eating from black businesses. Correct?
Yeah.
And it was a hard time to find in Georgia, was a part of Georgia where he was in. And he went to this one restaurant, which was a black business, but he couldn't eat there because they didn't get their crops or get their stuff from a black business, black farm.
Yeah.
Then he went to an older lady who had a farm, right?
Yeah.
And he was able to eat because she had her farm and she and fed him.
It was at a school.
Yeah. My question is, and my kind of last statement is that why did that black business didn't go to her farm to get their crops? They're in the same region of Atlanta, but that black business don't know nothing about that lady black farm. And the reason I ask those questions is because are we missing our own opportunities right in front of our faces and blaming them for missing them? That's just my closing statement.
Well, in that instance, you have to also look at uh, the product and how much you can actually produce and sell.
That's an excuse.
And I'm not saying it's an excuse.
That's an excuse.
I mean, that's what it is.
I mean, that's an excuse. You
and
can
then-
always hire people.
Hold on. And then on top of that is also, like you said, it's a lack of knowledge. So I mean, you got that demand. You can build your way up to fill those demands. But the thing about it is, a lot of people try to go with the cheapest product, which they can get the most for. And in that instance, in that show, one thing that I did like that Killer Mike did at the end, he gave you the websites of a bunch of black businesses. If you really go and look it up, he went through the struggle so that he could give you actual jewel at the end of it. And a lot of people like I said, people may have looked at it like, oh man, he tripping, man. I would have ate that collard greens at that black restaurant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they'll overlook the actual fact of the matter is he gave you some valuable knowledge. So my end statement is this, and it's always going to be the same. Until we stop pulling each other down and building each other up, we're always going to be in the same predicament we're in now. Yes, I look forward to the little victories that we do have. I hope that they mount up to something. But at the same time, to have real change, we have to put people in there that are for us. Point blank, period. And if they're not for us, then we need to not vote for them. We need to not back them at all.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so I think that's about it. Any last words, John Jay? All right.
I'm good.
All right. Cool. 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 All right. So, before we get into the NFL pick'ems, you have any businesses or anything, Lucky, that you're looking forward to? You want to shout out anything?
Well, first I want to shout out Eccleston Elementary Band. That's my wife's band, so I'm gonna always shout that out. Go
Okay.
Eagles. Secondly, I look forward to hopefully coming back on some more shows and actually, getting, going back and forth with you guys. You guys are fun to go back and forth with, and you're highly intelligent individuals. A lot of times, to me, this is a positive thing.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times you don't, like I tell people all the time, you don't see us doing things like this, getting out here to talk about topics that no one wants to talk about, and then putting it out there for people. Because at
Right.
the end of the day, you know, we're missing from the community, just overall. So
Yeah.
shout out to all the black men that are doing positive things.
Sound
That's for
good.
sure. That's for sure.